Hello, it's December and here is this month's news.
Welcome to the Total Kit Car news file for December. Thanks for the kind words about the first one we did for November 2023. That's now gone. We're going to change these every month so they stay fresh. So the Total Kit Car news file series will be just a one per month at any one time, really. I think it's better that way. Now, I mentioned to Neil Winnington, our video editor of NWin Motors, that I think we should up our game on these news file series things. And I remember as a kid, News at 10, well, I think it's still, if you listen to News at 10 or something like that, they have those bongs of Big Ben. So I thought, well, we'll have something like that. But when we looked at the price of that, it was way beyond our budget. So we've got this. So we thought that was pretty rubbish, really. But we try. Anyway, first piece this month is actually a heads up. It's a couple of months away yet, but I thought we'd mention it because it suddenly occurred to me just the other day that this was happening. 2024 marks a marvellous 75th anniversary for the UK's kit car industry, since dear old Derek Buckler first sold replicas of his auto test and hill climb car. And what a character he was. I think we'll commemorate the legacy and the memory of Derek, a very deserving subject for the History File series, and we'll also do a feature in the magazine. A real pioneer that kind of fell into car manufacturing, I think, but because I think of what he was offering, his innovation and his skills, really, ultimately, as a businessman. But he certainly was a character. I'll share a couple of Derek Buckler snippets here, I think, just to whet your appetite. His first car was he called it the Buckler Mark V. Now, he don't be under the misapprehension that he'd produced 4 previous models. He hadn't. His first car was the Mark V, but his reasoning being that he didn't want people thinking he was wet behind the ears or a bit green or an idiot. So he gave him instant credibility. Not that he needed it, because the car was the chassis, because ultimately he was, in those early days, he was selling chassis kits. Other people provided the bodies, but the chassis and the suspension geometry that he'd created and the setup that he'd created was first class. And I was looking at, I mean, it's pretty rudimentary for these days, of course, but I've often looked at Bucklers at shows, especially the brilliant specials event at Burford Wildlife Park every August. And they really were pretty cutting edge for that day. But anyway, and the second little snippet on Derek was that when you built your kit, or when you got your kit home, you checking your parts off. You probably noticed when you got pretty quickly into the unpacking, or the unboxing as we call it these days, you might think you were missing a bonnet badge. You actually weren't. Derek didn't give those out willy-nilly. What would happen would be that you would build your car, and then you'd tell Derek that you'd built your car and you'd like it to be inspected. Usually on a Saturday morning, and always at the Caversham Works, the Buckler Caversham Works in Berkshire, Royal Berkshire indeed. And you could be on your own, or there could be a little gaggle of you, and you park your car up in the works car park, and at allotted time, I think Derek would come out, and I'd love to think that it was true that he had a pointing stick under his arm. I know that Colin Chapman liked a pointing stick. And I'd like to believe that Derek had a pointing stick. Whether he did or not, I don't know. But a story, it sounds great. And he would come out and he would rule over your car, and he'd make sure that it met his standards and it was up to snuff. And if it did, then he would pull out of his pocket, probably in a nice cellophane wrapper, a prized Buckler bonnet badge. And I do so love that story as well. So that's one of the reasons I really, in addition to what he accomplished and for his legacy, really, I just want some of those stories to be aired, really. So anyway, that's the first piece of news this month. And I think it's a notable heads up, really, 75 years. But anyway.
Our friends at Car Builder Solutions have been busy working on the upgrades for their 2024 catalogue, and they've sent us details of some of the new products and also some of the revised products and prices that will be going into that brochure. Here's something for the classic Roadster or Cobra owners: a chrome self-adhesive flexible GB emblem. Nicely moulded in flexible vinyl. The size is 110 by 56 by 1.4 millimeters thick, and you basically peel it off the backing strip, position and place it on. It's that simple. It's £6.50 or £7.80 including the VAT. Lamps aplenty, including variations on the 7-inch theme with both traditional and LED versions, but also there's the Lucas L542 Cobra rear stop tail lamps. These are £90 for the pair or £108 including VAT.
Another kit car company, along with MK, that I'm really a big fan of, and they're doing the industry proud, like many of the companies around at the moment are doing. But it's Great British Sports Cars. Absolute brilliant job they're doing. I just announced for February 2024, they've had a little go at this as almost like a practice, if you will. This year a couple of times, but they've announced some factory tours, and that is a proper factory, by the way. So it's a proper factory tour. So they're offering enthusiasts the opportunity to get a really sort of privileged insight into everything that goes into creating the GBS Zero and all the ATR products that they manufacture in-house on their bank of CNC machines, because let's not forget they also produce their own dampers, their own throttle bodies, and their own brake calipers, which is pretty fantastic, as you do. And they also do some commercial outside work for third parties. I think they've recently been working on some landing gear mechanism for an aircraft manufacturer, which I think is pretty indicative of how far they've come, and the job they're doing is great. Anyway, they take place, the first two have been announced for Feb. The first one's on Saturday, February the 3rd, and followed quickly by Thursday, February the 8th, with various time slots available. Richard Hall, GBS co-director and engineering genius, I think, in my humble opinion, is going to be your guide for those tours. You don't have to have a Zero, obviously, and if you're just an enthusiast or you're into your motorsport and engineering and would love to see what a leading specialist car company does all day, then this could be for you. Get in touch with Ruth Hall, Richard's sister and co-director at GBS, greatbritishsportscars.com. And find out more. Ruth will book you in and give you more details. Bit of news about a new model of the Ariel Atom. Not a kit, obviously, but I'm never shy about covering cars that I like, generally of specialist car nature, regardless of how they are supplied, kit or fully built. And the Atoms are just a great car, in my humble opinion. So the news of the 4R version really piqued my interest. It's this one's got a new a tuned version of the Honda 2-litre that Ariel used. This one is in 400 bhp strength, which gives it quite a punch. It's got to allow for the to work with the extra power. There's now a larger air-to-air intercooler. It also comes with traction control, adjustable, of course, 3 levels of turbo boost, a track mode with a built-in video cam, should you desire, rear view camera, which is unusual in a specialist car, I guess, a nice mechanical slip diff from Quaife, as well as a 6-speed Quaife sequential box, which costs is a $13.5 option, and carbon fibre wheels, which I think are the ultimate option, I think, for us enthusiasts, and carbon ceramic discs. It's not for the faint of heart at almost 78 grand. And if you load it with options, it rockets up to 140 grand. But as an exercise in what's and how far Ariel have come and what's possible with that car, which, let's not forget, it first appeared in 1998, and to me, it still looks as fresh as a daisy, which is great. Okay, Simon Saunders and his team have continuously updated it and revised it and developed it. That is an obvious statement, and the days since it was powered by Rover K Series engine have long gone. Honda has been the way to go, I think, for Ariel certainly since probably 2000 maybe, as early as that. So I think the future's still very bright for the Atom, and they obviously still do the lesser models, which I think is lesser is relative, of course, because any Atom is going to be very quick, regardless of what strength of Honda engine it's got in it. But so there we are. So visit arielmotor.co.uk to find out more.
News from AutoTune, our friends at Rishton in Lancashire. They have acquired the remaining original Trojan McLaren production bodywork moulds. This is added to their already comprehensive selection of McLaren moulds and means that they are now able to supply replacement fiberglass bodywork, seats, side pods and perspex screens for almost all of the production McLaren sports racing and Formula cars. The truckloads of newly acquired original moulds arrived a few weeks ago, and they are currently being renovated and uprated to ensure the quality of the moulds that are available, the panels that are available from AutoTune. And this means that the selection of moulds that AutoTune can now provide bodywork for includes the M1A, the M1B and M1C, the M4, the M6B and M6GT, M6C, M8E and M8FP, and the M10P, amongst others. It's just another of the excellent services that AutoTune offer in their restoration of classic sports, racing and Formula cars, and helping to keep these wonderful machines on the track for everyone to enjoy. Also, if you're interested in the AutoTune story, you will be able to see a video on the TKC YouTube channel dedicated to AutoTune, which I believe is going to go on live on the 1st of March, and there will also be a feature on AutoTune in an upcoming issue of TKC Magazine. And if that isn't justification to subscribe to both, I don't know what is.
news this month reaches us of a well, shall we say a metal bashing company based in Gloucestershire called, forgive me, the guy's name's Jordan Bowen. So if you listen to this, Jordan, forgive my pronunciation. I think it's Maes Motorsport, Magus. Jordan's background involves working for various race teams involved in single-seater and GT racing. So clearly he knows one end of a spanner and a welding torch from another. And that's where he learnt. In fact, that environment was where he learnt fabrication and race prep and general chassis design. He recently decided to go on his own, and he can offer us enthusiasts various services, including TIG and MIG. The stainless steel exhaust he can fabricate, along with manifolds and inlets. He can produce a roll cage. He can even produce a chassis space frame for you, should you desire. He likes a bike engine car, so he can work on a chassis or adapt an existing chassis to accommodate one of those. He can do all sorts of builds, and as one would expect from a company of this type, he can produce your stainless steel and aluminium fuel tanks, radiators, intercoolers, restoration work, you name it, of a metals variety and of a car engineering variety, he can do it. Sounds like a very go-ahead guy, very enthusiastic, and from what I've heard, his work is first class. I had a look at his Facebook page the other day, and there's some very nice examples of some of his work there, including here we've just got a photo of some Formula Ford wishbones that he produces, which look very nice. So if you need a metal know-how, I'm sure that Jordan can assist you. You'll find him at the other end of 0507 908 532, or indeed spend 5 minutes visiting www.magusmotorsport.co.uk. Dear old Dom at Planet Dodo, Dodo Juice, leading car care brand. I love the way that Dom comes up with brilliant names and even better smells for his products. I know it's not big or clever, but I do like a car care product that smells nice. And it does tickle me with some of the names. There's some great car care companies around, obviously, in the UK as well as beyond. And regular readers, listeners will know that I'm into my car care products. Dodo Juice is one of my favourites, really. Not just because Dom's a good guy, but he hasn't paid me to say this or anything like that. But I speak as I find, and that's a go-to brand for me. And I did some group tests for another magazine over the last. I actually ongoing things, and I've done some already, and I will continue to do them. And it's quite interesting. We've done leather cleaners, we've done wheel cleaners, and we've done something else that escapes me at the moment. And Dodo, if they haven't won the test, they've certainly been in the top 3. So that's quite interesting in terms of performance. Anyway, one of their it's like an iron filing remover, wheel cleaner on steroids, I should say. It's called Ferrous Jeweler. I did say that he's very good at names. He calls it a wonder cleaner that gets rid of iron particles from unwanted parts of your car. Spray it on, it changes colour, and then you spray it, and then you can jet wash it off or hose pipe it off. So they're perfect for decontamination of paint and general deep cleaning. They do tend to stink like hair bleach, but as we're never going to be drinking them or getting anywhere near ingesting them, then wear gloves and you'll be fine, and eye protection, you'll be fine. In all seriousness, an iron filing remover, sort of iron fallout remover, is a good product. It does genuinely help and shortcut some of the steps or time that. So certainly, if you're on a water meter using a jet washer, which are great, if a good jet washer is worth its weight in gold. But yeah, let's never forget, water costs money to most people these days in terms of meters. So whatever you can do to sort of shorten the process has got to be good news. And an iron fallout remover will generally do that. It will just lift the sort of caked on crud, as I like to call it. This one's a pH neutral. It's got some good surfactants in it to deep clean and get rid of dirt and grime. And it's easy to use as well, which is really good. You haven't got to go through any scientific processes to apply it or indeed remove it. And it clings on, and if it clings, giving it time to work and lift dirt and crud, then that's great news. And then you can see exactly where you need to aim your jet of water. Prices start at £11 for 500ml bottle, and I class it as a garage winter essential. Information from, well, Dodo Juice got various stockists around the country, but you can always find out very much more at HTTPS. It's one of those ones without the www, so it's https://dodojuice.net. News this month. Oh, sorry, forgot. News this month that with MK Sports Cars being in their 26th year, I believe. A very, very impressive milestone. They've had a slight rebrand, but more on that in a second. I've always been a fan of MK Sports Cars. Martin Keenan has always been a bit of a hero of mine. I'd like to think I had a little hand in helping spread the word of MK back in the day, 1997 at Stoneleigh, perhaps, could have been 98, certainly one of those 2 years, when I helped promote the fact that Martin was going to be there, and subsequently he was there, and we told people about it in I worked for Kit Car Magazine then. And he turned up with a couple of mates with a blanket and some of the low cost inspired or derived parts that he'd created, and also a chassis, I think, with, if I'm not mistaken, a Honda Fireblade in it. And these were very, very early days of the MK Indy, fledgling little effort. And who would have guessed that the heights that he and the rest of the Keenan family that subsequently took the project over would reach. I was well documented over the years as calling the Keenans a national treasure, which I always thought was great, hard-working lads. And let's never forget, the car was pretty damn good, and still is. Anyway, it's ended up now in the last few years with Neil and Sean at MK Sports Cars in deepest leafy part of Essex, the very leafy part of Essex, in fact, and not far from Braintree, if my memory serves me right. And they've done some beautiful things. They've really developed the brand. They've brought new models on stream. They've kept, which I really, really do like, they've kept the ethos of what the Indy was all about. But as they say in a recent press release, times have changed. They're now in 26th year. MK obviously stood for Martin Keenan, and Martin moved on to pastures new many years ago. So they've just rebranded as MK S. Now, they modern and classic with a K sports cars. They're not going to go away from the ethos of MK Sports Cars, far from it. They're not going to move away from the Indy. As I said, they developed it, so you can buy all sorts of, well, whatever your taste, whatever your pocket, whatever your budget, they'll find you an Indy. They'll make you an Indy. They'll sell you an Indy kit, and whichever, loads of engine choice, loads of choice when it comes to specification. A truly great kit car, if I may say. mksportscars.com may well be the correct website. RS Retro, the makers of very, very good RS200 pastiche. I think they first to claim to tell you that it's not actually a replica, but it is a very, very impressive piece of kit. The project has changed hands. The new owner is a West Midlands-based businessman called Mark Murphy, who was an RS Retro customer. He's an RS200 and Group B rally fan, generally. and he will be continuing to offer kits and fully built cars and parts and backup to existing customers from his base, which I believe is going to be, it's early days yet, but I believe he's in Warwickshire. We'll have more on this one very soon. In the meantime, visit rsretro.com, which is the company's new website. Very, very efficient website. I liked it. I like the look of that, and very informative. And yeah, there we are, a new owner for RS Retro. Harvey at XCS Designs has introduced, or indeed the team at XCS Designs in Saffron Walden, have introduced a set of videos which will, I think, go a long way to explaining what they do, the nature of their kits, and what's involved, really. I think they came up with the fact that they were getting a lot of frequently asked questions, and they put them all together and they put them into a handy little Q&A video. I think they call it a quick chat about their kits, which kind of sets it out quite nicely. And if you visit xcsdesigns.co.uk, you should find a lot more, or just indeed search XCS Designs on YouTube. I found it quite entertaining.
It's December, which means that it's Christmas, and that means all the films that Granny's going to want to watch when she comes round for Christmas dinner are going to be on the TV. But you, my friend, can escape all that by squirreling yourself away in a corner with your latest issue of TCC Magazine, and it's well worth buying the latest issue. Look out for the cover that you can see on the screen at your local newsagents, and go and grab one whilst you can. Even better, why not subscribe, and then you won't miss any issues at all.
So that's about it this month for our news roundup. Of course, if you want the most up-to-date specialist car news and information, we update totalkitcar.com every Friday, and I'm proud to say I have done, I think I'm entering into my 23rd year, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that I've not missed a Friday update in 23 years. I think, not looking for any pats on the back for that, but I think it shows dedication to the cause. But of course, we update that every Friday. Most of the stuff, unless it's time dated or any other specific reason, stays on there, so you can search for a company or a product, and I think we've got 4,000 odd pages on the site now, and there's a fairly good chance that you'll be able to find what you're looking for. Do some research before visiting the company in question. If you do follow up on one of our news pieces, be it on the site directly or from one of these news videos, please mention totalkitcar.com and Enwin Motors, because it will really help us, and we really appreciate it. Because when we're sitting here, when I'm sitting, particularly, I imagine Neil's the same, but when I'm sitting here at 2:30 in the morning, when it's peeing with rain lashing against the windows of the office, and I'm watching, it's just pitch black, I think that shows dedication, really. So that a little thing like that, if you could give us a reference, a referral when you visit these companies or speak to these companies, would really make all that effort worthwhile. Anyway, until January the 1st, 2024, when we'll be back with our January news, I wish you a fantastic Christmas, a really nice festive season, and I'll wish you a Happy New Year on January the 1st, of course, but in case I forget, which I might, Happy New Year. And thank you very, very much for your kind support with the YouTube, the Total Kit Car YouTube channel. We've got some plans for it for next year. We've been a bit rudimentary with it. We just wanted to see where it would go, and whether it was a horse worth running, if you will. And the response shows that the tentative steps we took with the history file videos, audio videos, has gone pretty well. We will be doing, I'll let you into some secrets here, we will be doing some car tests via video, if I can get my lines right and I can stop moving the camera around, because I do tend to wave my arms around a little bit. So we are planning on doing some of those. I think we may even, thinking out loud here, do some I think we'll call them history file pluses, when we'll find a car that we want to talk about, or a marque we want to talk about, and focus in on a car. If we go to a show or something, or a classic car meet, and we find a car that's of interest, we'll base a history file episode around that. So watch out. If you're at a Goodwood breakfast meet, or a classic car event or something in the spring, look out, because I might tap you on the shoulder and give you a magazine and ask you kindly if I could talk to you about your car. So I think that'll be a nice thing to do. And I think we will also look at some pieces to camera for the history files as well, although I'm reluctant to do that because I can barely do these voiceovers in a cohesive way, so let alone excuse me, being in front of camera. We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. But anyway, again, thanks for your support, and I really wish you a great Christmas, and thanks for visiting, and I look forward to welcoming you to the news file for January 2024.